Alright, it is time to once more talk about Titans. Specifically, I want to talk about Titan Barricades. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the current state of the game and see what you guys think as well. Do Titan Barricades need another nerf? I'd have to say yes. Most people who play this game at a decent level or are really invested in PvP would pretty much agree for the most part that something needs to be done about Titans, so I don't really want to talk about if they need tuning, but more so how they should be tuned. So the go-to nerf in the recent past has been to the cooldown of the barricade, which absolutely needed to be done. However, have we really moved on from a Titan meta at all at the top level? No. All of the best teams at the highest level absolutely still use triple Titan. There is no question about that. So, does nerfing the cooldown really help? I personally think something more needs to be done. The problem with hitting the cooldown is a very common problem this game has with balancing, in my opinion, and that is if you continue to hit the cooldown, who does it really hurt more, an individual Titan player on a team or a 3-stack team of Titans? It hurts the single individual Titan player more because a team of 3 can rotate their barricades as needed. Yes, a cooldown still hurts them, obviously, but not as much as a single player. The 3-stack, especially a coordinated 3-stack, can just time their barricades a little better. They just have to think about it more. It doesn't really change how the actual game plays. It just changes how much they have to think about their barricades. This is the problem I have with a lot of balancing in Destiny. The best example I have of what I'm trying to say is think of Stasis Titan for the last year or two. It has been one of the bottom most useless classes in the game for the most part. You would never ever see it. It was so bad. But if you stacked 3 of them together, they were completely and absolutely broken. It honestly made the game unplayable. If you ever matched one of these 3-stack teams that just mained the Stasis Behemoth Titans and just did nothing else but shoot the ice, it wasn't even an FPS game anymore. You weren't even shooting them. There was just it was like Fortnite mixed with farming simulator. I don't know. It wasn't even an FPS game. It was unplayable. But then the individual Stasis Titan was pretty much one of the worst subclasses in the game. So how do you even balance that? They ended up just nerfing the class altogether, and now it's even more useless than it was. Now you don't see the 3 stacks of them, and you definitely don't see any solo Stasis Titans anymore. So you see what I mean? The main issue I have isn't really with one Titan and their barricade, it's when you start to get 2 or 3 barricades, and I think that's where the main issue is. And obviously there's no class restriction or any way to stop people from doing that, so I think that's why something more than a cooldown nerf needs to happen. They just do too many things. The barricades as a whole, they 1, provide cover, 2, block areas because you cannot go through them, 3, they give you information for free with 0 risk. You can sit there and you can tell exactly what's going on around the point or wherever you're looking. You can see exactly what the other team is doing with absolutely 0 risk of dying. And finally, in this current state of the game, they let you cap the objective much easier than any other class can. Barricading the point is a lot of times, if it's not just a free win, it becomes a lot more difficult for the other team to deal with. So I don't know, personally, I'd like to see a rework or a major change happen to the barricades themselves. I don't really want another cooldown nerf. I'm not really against it, but I just don't really think it will fix much personally, at least as far as the overall meta goes. I think it will just kind of hurt individual Titan players the most. People will just wait an extra 10 seconds or whatever before using their shields, and it'll still just be rotated to the point where it always feels like there's a shield up when there's 3 Titans. I really would like to see a different change. The main idea I've heard that I think I kind of like the most is I feel like maybe you should only take half health for running through a shield instead of 99%, because I'm not gonna lie, getting one tapped because you clipped the corner of a shield on accident, it feels pretty silly for the most part. It's almost like cartoon level of balancing. Think about it. You died because your foot clipped the little side of a barrier. It just has nothing to do with, it's not even a skillful of play in any sort. Like, it's not like they had to aim the ability. Like, at least grenades you have to somewhat aim sometimes. Like, I don't know, like this is just a shield that's been sitting there forever and you just bumped into it and then someone shot you in the foot. Like, I don't know, I don't think it should do 99%, but at the same time I don't really like the idea of just people running through them altogether. I do think you should be punished for running through it. It just, I don't know, maybe a good compromise would be to take half health. I think that's sort of what I'm leaning towards, but I don't really know. It's kind of a tricky thing to balance. I've also heard to make it so that you can't see through it. I don't really know how I feel about that. That seems a little weird. It would obviously be a pretty good nerf, but it just seems a little clunky and like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one, but I really don't know how you go about balancing this, because I really don't think that a nerf to the cooldown will really do much. They've already done that multiple times. I mean, it helps, but it doesn't really change the meta at all. It's still just triple Titan, obviously. And I do think if you hit the cooldown too hard, it'll just feel really bad to be like the only Titan on a team. And that's not really what I want. I want it to still be good. A lot of people like to just nerf things into the dirt so they never see them in their game ever again. That's not really what I want for the Titan Barricades or Titan as a whole. I am tired of playing against them, but I do still want them to be at least in a decent spot. And normally, I don't always think that just balancing around the top level of play is the best way to go about it, but to me, if you're going to force SBMM into almost every playlist and force people into these lobbies like this, I really do think that's how you need to balance the game, because if not, it will just get extremely stale at the top level and it will not be any fun for anyone who is up there, and there's no way to get out of it. Like, if you don't like playing triple Titans and you're in that SBMM bracket, it doesn't really matter. That's what you're gonna play. There's no getting away from it. Obviously that will be true of whatever is at the top, but I do think that especially if there's going to be SBMM, they do need to try to balance the top level of the game, especially because that is where your, well, one, like your most dedicated players typically are, but a lot of people aim to be at the top. Like, sort of, if you have an unhealthy balance at the top, it will sort of trickle down and make a lot of the like other levels of the game worse as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Just wanted to do like a quick discussion. I want to see what you guys think. Definitely drop some comments. I want to see how everyone else is feeling about the Titans. Some people probably don't play as many of them as some others do, especially in like the competitive playlist and whatnot. Kind of depends on your skill level for the most part, because like I said, it is definitely very heavy at the top. I know the overall usage isn't necessarily leaning towards Titan. It's usually the subclasses or the classes are pretty evenly split, like between Hunters, Warlocks, and Titans. But the most successful teams at the top definitely are mostly favoring Titans. So it kind of just depends what type of player you are, but I do want to see everyone's thoughts. A lot of times some comments like on these type of videos get like pretty nasty and kind of toxic. I don't really understand why. It's not really that serious. I just want to talk about the balance of the game and the current state and see what you guys think. So keep it chill in the comments. I'll definitely be reading them and answering and having some discussion. So let me know what you guys think. But as always, I'm awake and I'll see you guys next time.